So there's this movie. It's about a blonde girl with long hair. She wears a purple dress. She's secretly a lost princess. She loves to paint, has an animal sidekick. She cooks a lot. Mother Gothel keeps her in a tower, but she leaves and meets a hot guy, and they fall in love, and her paintings end up saving her, and they live happily ever after. Incredible soundtrack. Oh. Wait, there's actually 2 of those movies. Welcome to Observations, where I talk about games and things that I like, that I think you like, or could possibly come to like. So grab yourself a tea or a coffee and sit back as we examine together. My name is Millie, and those belong to Prudence. Please be respectful. If you have come from Oddities and are very confused, this is just an additional series to Oddities. It's not replacing Oddities, it's just another facet of gaming and pop culture that we are exploring on the Sam and Millie channel. So please do not be stressed. It's okay. You might come to enjoy yourself. If not, that's also okay. Now, Barbie as Rapunzel came out in 2002. It was the second CGI Barbie feature-length film created by Mattel. And upon its release, along with the various merchandise that came along with the DVD, it made apparently an estimated $200 million US in the year 2002. Along with the film, we obviously had a lot of merchandise, as that was presumably the reason why we started getting these Barbie movies, right? Mattel could create stories and iconic characters as another incentive for children to purchase their toys, along with getting to make a lot of money anyway from the copious amounts of international DVD sales. With this merchandise, they would also create PC games, which is where we find Barbie as Rapunzel, A Creative Adventure, a game I had forgotten about completely, as I know you did, until my YouTube homepage recommended to me like a couple of people doing playthroughs of this game. However, I'm getting away from myself. In order to understand this game, we need to look at the film itself. I am about to go into excruciating detail analyzing this movie. So, I hope that you enjoy. We begin the film with the opening credits as the visuals fly through an art studio to some absolutely phenomenal music performed by the London Symphony Orchestra. Whilst the film does make use of some previously composed classical, I believe it's classical, don't quote me on that, it could definitely be from another period. All of the music in this movie was arranged and or mostly composed by American composer Arnie Roth. The work he does on not only this film, but also Barbie as Princess and the Pauper, Barbie and the Magic of the Pegasus, Barbie and the 12 Dancing Princesses, Barbie as the Island Princess, and finally Barbie in the Diamond Castle. There is so much love poured into all of the music of these straight to DVD movies, and I think that is a huge reason as to why you'll find women and people around my age still turning back to these films all of these years later. So huge love to Arnie Roth, you absolute angel. We all love you so much. In the opening credits, they cleverly include the names of those credited into the fabric of the universe itself. They didn't have to do this, but it is an attention to detail that enraptured me as a child. The names were engraved on paintbrushes, on paint bottles, and finally we find Owen Hurley named in paint at the very end. He was a director of some of the Barbie movies between 2001 and 2013. In the scene that follows, we see Barbie and Kelly in the same art studio. Kelly is being annoying as per. I have personal beef with Kelly because my brothers used to say that I looked like her growing up, and she's agonizing over what to paint. She's worried that she's going to hate it. She can't decide on what to do. And Barbie tells her that she can create anything she can imagine, and that Kelly's conundrum reminds her of a story of a girl whose painting saved her life. This is a Barbie movie where the story is canonically a tale that Barbie is telling Kelly in order to teach her a lesson, as opposed to the films where Barbie is an actress playing different characters. The BCU is frightening and complicated, and it's extremely convoluted for a children's franchise, but it's not super relevant to what we're going to be talking about today. If you would like for me to explore the BCU, I can. Just let me know. Barbie tells Kelly of a kingdom filled with dragons and magic, and in this kingdom there was a manor hidden in the woods that you couldn't see as it was hidden behind a magic wall that made it invisible. Notably, the manor does not include the tower yet. We see a girl with this long blonde plait that touches the floor painting a picture. It is the same ocean picture that Barbie was painting in the original art studio we've just come from. Hobie, her rabbit friend, shows up and is complaining about being hungry. And we meet Penelope the dragon. I don't know what age Penelope is meant to be, and I also don't know what age she's meant to be in dragon years. She's a lot smaller than the other dragon we meet in this movie. I really don't know what we can base that on in terms of dragon years versus human years, but she can speak. She's like the same height as Rapunzel, maybe a little taller. She's a little taller than Rapunzel. For reference. She's also a startling shade of bright purple, which we love. Rapunzel tells them one day she will go to this beach and finally feel free for the first time in her life. And Hobie, as he is a rabbit and can hear very well, can hear that Gothel is on her way back to the manor. His hearing abilities have no continuity in this film. He can hear or not hear as far a distance as the plot requires him to do so at any given moment. Penelope tells Rapunzel to book it, and she and Hobie will hide her art stuff away. They are panicked, they are scared, we have to hide the art. Immediately we know that Gothel is someone to be feared. We see Gothel in the woods as she uses some green magic power from her finger to finger blast a hole through the magic wall and head towards the manor on her horse. She's also shown whipping the horse on a close-up, which obviously is supposed to showcase some sort of ruthlessness to her. She will use whatever she can as a weapon of control. The hole she blasted closes behind her, and we get the first of the ASMR steps this movie is pretty well known for within the Barbie community. You often see them pop up on TikTok. I remember I used to rewind this movie on VHS so I could listen to the sound of the crispy steps again. I have to know the story or who was in the Foley booth for this movie, just making these steps sound so crunchy. Rapunzel only just makes it to the front door in time for Gothel to walk in. Immediately, we can see the power dynamic as Rapunzel is being very polite, calling her milady, while Gothel won't even look at her and is super dismissive. She is ordering Rapunzel around, giving ultra-specific instructions. We see what we thought was a fake weasel around Gothel come to life and start speaking, and this is where we meet Otto, the very excited weasel.
Give him to me!
I don't know why or who allowed them to make this weasel sound like that. I didn't notice it as a child, however, as an adult, it is apparent that this is vastly inappropriate. Regardless, Otto makes it clear that he would like to eat Hobie the rabbit, and I believe that is one of his primary objectives of the movie. Gothel notices a smear of blue paint on Rapunzel's cheek and reprimands her for painting despite Rapunzel already having completed all of her chores. She goes to walk up the stairs and there's a squeaky floorboard, and she yells at Rapunzel about this as well. She says, "I've taken care of you since you were a baby, and this is how you thank me?" She's not claiming to be her biological mother, but rather an adopted parental figure. Barbie is voiced by Dame Kelly Sheridan, a voice actor veteran, and it's really funny when you look her up on Letterboxd because it's like 30 of the Barbie movies, a few My Little Pony features, and then it's just Sausage Party right at the very top. Gothel is voiced by Angelica Houston, known for Addams Family, The French Dispatch. I only really know her for playing the evil lady who runs the rival daycare in Daddy Daycare. They both do such a great job in this movie. Kelly Sheridan's voice is all things perfection, grace, and beauty. Everything it needs to be. And then Gothel, along with the character design, which I think also does a lot, but also like her performance is filled with so much gravitas and venom, and it's just so much fun. We cut then to Barbie making Gothel's tea. Hobie wishes death upon Mother Gothel, which Rapunzel reprimands. She doesn't wish death on Gothel despite being enslaved by her, good for her. Penelope attempts to help grow the flames of the fireplace, but fails despite trying really, really hard. In her embarrassment, her tail falls, whacking into Gothel's food tray, and everything is in the air. The gang begins scrambling to catch everything, Hobie eating 3 cookies in the process, which cannot be good for a rabbit. They catch everything except for a single teaspoon, which lands on the nose of a decorative dragon on the fireplace. The head of the dragon bows and the floor near them begins to descend into stairs, revealing a secret basement room. Barbie immediately goes down there saying she believes there could be something great. Both of her sidekicks are pessimistic and cowardly to further showcase Rapunzel's optimism and bravery. They don't want to go down there. They name everything that could go wrong, and she names everything that could go right. The room is covered in dust and cobwebs, furniture trapped in cloth, and old boxes and books. Rapunzel opens this huge chest. I cannot explain to you how big this chest is, to discover it is filled to the brim with party invites. I cannot imagine getting invited to that many parties. She must have been so popular. Rapunzel opens this huge chest to discover it is filled to the brim with party invites. We get another infamous quote here with Kelly Sheridan saying, "I know Gothel have been invited to this many balls."
I can't imagine Gothel attending all these
balls.
Seemingly, Gothel was super popular. Penelope finds an old portrait of Gothel with a mysterious suitor. Only the suitor's head has been sliced away so that we cannot see his face. The modern day equivalent would be cutting him out of your family photo albums or photoshopping him out of your pictures from your school dance. Both of which I have done. Rapunzel finds a smaller box and opens it to discover an engraved silver brush, and music chimes as the box opens. The engraving says, "Constant as the stars above, always know that you are loved. To our daughter Rapunzel, on her first birthday, with love forever, mother and father." Rapunzel is like, whoa, this makes no sense. Gothel told me that she found me or got me when I was only a few days old, and Hobie says, well, her lying is expected because she's evil and the worst. Hobie then blows dust off of an old relic, and Penelope's allergies react. She sneezes fire into the floorboards, and she takes down a bookcase and smashes a whole heap of stuff. Gothel calls out from far off for Rapunzel. Why didn't Hobie hear when he heard her kilometers away before? We don't know. They decide to come back to investigate further and clean up later. I love the way Gothel says, "Enter."
Enter.
When Rapunzel knocks on the door to her bedroom. It's so good. Gothel calls her lazy, Rapunzel gives Gothel her tea, the weasel moans a few times and calls Gothel his mistress, which is also strange. Gothel tells Rapunzel to leave her to nap until dinner. My dream date. They are back in the hidden room and Hobie plays a prank on Penelope, which somehow results in Penelope smashing a gaping hole in the floor. They investigate further and realize that the hole they have made in the floor reveals an underground tunnel. Notably, Rapunzel says, "Maybe this isn't a good idea," to which Hobie replies, "Well, there's the understatement of the 17th century, canonically setting the story in the 1600s. And since this story is told from Barbie's perspective, however, any historical inaccuracies could just be excused as an error on her part, I guess." After some trepidation, Barbie decides to head through the tunnel as this could be her only chance to escape. Penelope attempts to jump down the hole to join her, however cannot fit. Hobie doesn't come either, as he says he needs to look after Penelope, but really he's actually quite scared as this tunnel looks very scary. Assumably, Rapunzel decides that she needs to do this as this could be her only means of escape. Like, as far as we know, the magic wall doesn't go down into the actual ground, because why would it? You know what I mean? So yeah, she thinks that this is could be her only chance to ever really leave. Barbie wanders through the tunnel with only a single candlelight and the scurrying rats for comfort. Eventually, she reaches an ascending staircase leading to light. She leaves the tunnel to see clear blue sky and climbs a small hill to reveal a view of a huge pink castle and before it a village. When Rapunzel is walking through the village, we get some of the worst animation this movie has to offer. The townsfolk look absolutely terrifying. However, it was 2002 and a straight-to-DVD movie. The village is bustling, filled with energy, with people of all ages. The baker offers Rapunzel some sort of sweet, and she says no, some sort of pastry. Whether that is because she knows she has to pay for it and she knows that she has no cash, or if she's actively anti-carb, we don't know. And we don't get confirmation, and I can't really tell. We head back to the castle and see Penelope pacing. She's worried sick about Rapunzel. She asks Hobie to use a super hearing to get an update about Gothel's whereabouts. He listens and tells her that her father is looking for her. This is where we meet Hugo. This is where we meet Hugo. We see Hugo, a giant dragon, fly over the magic wall and land in the manor grounds. We don't see a Mrs. Hugo. It's good to know. It's good to see. He is voiced by Canadian voice actor David Kay. Hi. I don't know who you are, but I love your work. Hugo begins telling off Penelope for playing at the manor all day instead of finessing her dragon skills. He tells her, "You are not scary enough, you can't breathe fire properly, you can't even freaking fly over the magic wall. How are you a dragon who can fly, afraid of heights? Boo, boo, boo." This is where we know now. You might assume that you would think that the magic wall is like a dome, a la like snow globe catching fire sort of thing, but it's not. It's a magic wall and it has an end. So it goes just up really, 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 really high. Assumably, it's a wall so that Hugo can get in and out and do her bidding, I guess. Hobie then says, as Hugo leaves, "Does he ever smile?" To which Penelope replies, "Not around me." And I cried. That is so freaking sad. Rapunzel is now exploring the lush palace grounds of the kingdom. She sees 3 young Kelly-sized girls in 3 different marketable outfits, riding on a horse side saddle, no helmet in sight. They get off of their horse. The horse is called Botticelli, and they seek apples from nearby trees to feed him. Katrina, the blonde Kelly triplet, runs to get the apples and falls into the earth. Rapunzel runs to help her, and we see that the pit she has fallen into has a bunch of nasty pointed spikes at the bottom. It's a booby trap. It's quite dark for Barbie, really. Barbie reaches down to get Katrina whilst Lorraine, the ginger Kelly doll, takes off on Botticelli to go get help. Now, how did she get on this horse? Make it make sense. I also have a little bit of personal beef with Kelly Sheridan's exertion noises. They always get me so bad. They're so funny. Rapunzel grabs Katrina's hand. They almost get her to standing, but more ground gives way and she slips, and then we get this shot, which is the female gaze. Need I say more? This is our introduction to Stefan. Hey, how are you? Who hugs Katrina once she is safe and thanks Rapunzel for saving his sister. Botticelli shows up again, and this girl is somehow off of the horse. I'm so angry about the horse annuity in this movie. It's also logistically not possible and also unsafe. The three girls finally go to get their apples. No thank you from a single Kelly, by the way, to either of them. Rapunzel says, what beautiful girls, which is so funny how she says it, because she says it like how people talk when they meet ugly babies. And then Stefan says, on their good days, and I don't know what he means by that. The prince says, you come here often, and she says, I've literally never been here before in my life. And he's like, oh, are you from Wilhelm's kingdom? And she's like, who is that? And he's like, the king who did that, pointing to the sinkhole trap that almost killed Katrina Blonde Kelly. Rapunzel is like, well, why would he do that? And Stefan explains the law. That King Wilhelm, ruler of the neighboring kingdom, claims that their king, the kingdom of this village and the palace, did something terrible to their kingdom years ago. Rapunzel asks, yeah, but did he do it? And then Stefan is like, no. And then Rapunzel says, well, in that case, surely they can just sit down and talk about it and communicate. And Stefan is like, if that, it is too far gone, and the only way to fix it is to go to war through force. Rapunzel says, well, that seems foolish. Canonically a pacifist. The Kellys start fighting in the distance, and Stefan is like, oh, I need to break this up. I'll be right back. A clock tower chimes, and Rapunzel is like, oof, it's getting late. I've got to go. She books it back to the tunnel and is spotted by Otto, the excited weasel spying for Gothel. Ew. And also, how did he get here? Like, did he know about the tunnel? It is never explained. I know he can't get over the magic wall. How on earth did he get to the village? How did he get back? We have no clue. But anyway, this seems like a continuity error. Stefan comes back with the Kellys, and they are like, where did she go? And he says, I have no clue, and I don't even know her name. The girls are back 3 in a row, side-saddling Botticelli at this point as well. Fading back into Rapunzel's bedroom, Rapunzel is back and sharing with Obi and Penelope about the village. She is so excited. She's like, I met a man. Cut to Gothel applying perfume, nearly asphyxiating Otto, and he's like, I saw someone today in the village. And she's like, why on earth should I care? And he's like, because it was Rapunzel. And Gothel's like, how on earth did that happen? And he's like, she found the tunnel below the basement. And she met a man. I saw her with a man. Cut back to Rapunzel. She's saying, he was the most handsome man I've ever seen. And Hobie hits her with, and you have seen how many men before? which is actually a really good point. Like, she saw the baker, she saw this hunky blacksmith in the village, and unless you count Hugo, Hobie, and Otto, he really is like, and I really think that you shouldn't, he really is only like man number 3 she has ever seen in recent memory, like since she was a baby, I'm assuming, and they were all today. Penelope asks what the man's name was, and she said, oh, I have no clue, I forgot to ask. Otto doesn't know his name either, and he says, sorry. And Gothel is enraged, juxtaposed with Rapunzel dancing around her room. She's so excited. She's like, I can't wait to go back. Too little too late. Hobie is like, I can hear Gothel. Gothel is coming, as she barges into the room. She says, did we have a nice little trip today? With an eerie calm. Rapunzel sees the grin on Otto's face, puts 2 and 2 together, and realizes that he snitched. Gothel says, you are an ungrateful cow. I raised you. Gothel is like, well, why didn't you just tell me about the village? Everyone was so nice. And Gothel's like, oh yeah? How nice? Who was the man that you met? And Rapunzel was like, I don't know his name. Gothel says, you liar. Rapunzel's like, no, really, I have no clue what his name is. Gothel says, well, maybe I need to make myself more clear. She finger blasts and destroys all of Rapunzel's paintings, all her art supplies, and she levitates Hobie about to kill the rabbit. And Rapunzel's like, no, please, can you just like let them go? And Penelope and Hobie run out. Rapunzel says, why are you doing this? You can't keep me locked away from the world forever. And Gothel says, bet. And then she uses her magic to engorge the bedroom, making it grow so it turns into Rapunzel's iconic tower from the fairy tale. There's no door, there's no way out, there's no bathroom, or even a pot. I'll leave to your imagination how she would have managed that. She's like, you smell, I hate you. I will be back, and I want the name of that man, and clean up all of your broken shit off of the floor. Gothel gets on Father Hugo, who's flying outside of the window, and she's like, you need to guard this window so she can't get out. She also hurts Hugo with her magic, mirroring how she hurt the horse. Horses seemingly cannot talk in this universe. Dragons can, and apparently rabbits. We head back to the Pink Palace, and Stefan is walking, and he gets addressed as Your Highness. This is how we, as the audience, find out that he is the prince. The prince nearly gets shish kebabbed by his brother, another Kelly doll, but a boy Kelly doll with this crazy blonde bowl cut. Him and Stefan have a good relationship. They have good rapport. We can trust him. We are learning as an audience that Stefan is hubby material. We head to the throne room and meet Stefan's dad, the king, and he's like, oh, did you ever find that girl who saved Katrina Blonde Kelly? And he's like, no, we have looked everywhere. The king asks if, could she have been a spy for King Wilhelm? And then Stefan is like, but she literally risked dying to save Katrina, which makes no sense if that was the case. Some other guard man comes in and they begin talking about attacking King Wilhelm, and then Prince Stefan is thinking about all of the pacifist stuff that Rapunzel said to him, and he's like, Father, when will this end? When is enough enough? And the king is like, you will turn 18 in a few days, Stefan, and you will become king soon. One day it may be up to you to kill King Wilhelm. You need to take this seriously. The Kelly triplets are there, and blonde Kelly Katrina asks Prince Stefan, when is he gonna see the lady with the pretty hair again? And he's like, I hope soon. We cut to the exterior of Rapunzel's tower, and the shot zooms into Rapunzel's room. Rapunzel has her hair unbound, and it is long and thick. She wakes because she can hear Prince Stefan's voice yelling Rapunzel from outside. Rapunzel, Rapunzel. She goes to the window, looks down, and Prince Stefan is there on the ground looking up at her, and he says, come down. And she says, I can't. And he says, then I'll come up. And she says, how? And he says, let down your hair. I have no idea why she can't come down if he can get up. Someone explain. She gets her bushel of hair and chucks it out the window, and the mechanics of this look kind of insane. Assumably her hair has zero grip for a start, and this is like looks super high risk, like he's got his feet on the side of the tower facing the ground with no harness. We can see she also has just enough hair to wrap around this pole and reach nearby the ground, which is impressive. I still think it would be rather painful for her scalp. When he gets to the top, she also doesn't help him in, which seems very dangerous. He says, "You're even more beautiful than I remembered," which is nice, but it's also the kind of stuff that guys do say to you when they show up to your bedroom in the middle of the night. She says, "How did you find me?" And he says, "I searched everywhere." Vague. They take each other's hands, the music picks up, and we hear Gothel's cackling, and suddenly the room is her face, and Gothel is giant. She picks up Rapunzel in her hand, and Rapunzel is screaming, "Let me go! Let me go!" And on that last go, Rapunzel wakes up in her bedroom, and it was all a dream. Prince Stefan, Gothel, the hair pull, all of it. Rapunzel gets up and goes to her window, where Hugo has gone to check on her because evidently she was yelling in her sleep. And they have this moment where they look at each other, and Rapunzel tries to sort of smile at Hugo, and he just flies away. Rapunzel looks up to the sky. She picks up the engraved hairbrush from her parents. She says, "Constant as the stars above, always know that you are loved. I'm going to be free." This moment is surprisingly really poignant and powerful. Like, she has all odds stacked against her, and she feels completely trapped, and yet she still chooses to believe that she will get to have her freedom one day. She heads back to bed and falls asleep with a smile on her face, and she leaves the hairbrush on the windowsill. We get the main original song written for this movie. Constant as the stars above, always know that you are loved. I think that those are the lyrics. Constant in the stars above, always know that you are loved. Dunno you will help you make your dreams come true. There's a shooting star as Rapunzel descends into slumber, and the hairbrush magically transforms into a silver paintbrush. Fade to black. Cinema. The next scene is two palace guards going through the spooky woods where we know the manor is, on horseback. They are like, why on earth would the hot girl that the prince met be in here? It's really scary and awful. But apparently the prince has searched literally everywhere else, and this is the only place that they haven't searched. So they think, well, she must be in these woods. And we know that they are correct, but they don't know about the magic wall. They get chased out of the woods by a dragon. We never see the dragon. I assume it's Hugo, and he does like, what is this? And they're like, babe, what's it called when they like, you know, they're like guarding something? Sentry. Yeah, like another word for that. Like doing like... rounds? Yeah, doing the rounds. Is there like a term for that? Doing the rounds? Just doing the rounds. Like surveillance. Oh, surveillance. That's what I meant. Thank you. I think we can assume that Hugo's doing the surveillance, like on the manor, like is probably chasing people away, but we don't actually ever see him. I assume it's Hugo, but who knows? It could just be another random dragon that lives in the spooky forest. It never gets clarified, really. Back to the village, Gothel is here, and she is moving so crazy because she has this huge cloak on to hide her identity. Like, I like to think that she's walking like this because she can't actually see. So she's like, ooh, I hope I'm going the right way. She asks that same baker that Rapunzel met if there's going to be a party or something because everything is super hectic. And he says, yeah, woman. The prince's birthday, I have so much baking to do. 200 cinnamon rolls, 300 strudel, 400 cream puffs, and not to mention a colossal birthday cake. Now that is a lot of baking to do with no YouTube playing in the background or like cake stand or electric mixer to help. I think he has the right to feel very stressed. The knights we saw before come teeming through the village, screaming about dragons, and we see Gothel's pointy chin poke out with a little smile, because she knows they've been in the woods. The knights are also a little smoky. We go to the palace. There's food, a turkey, and Prince Stefan. The knights come to talk to Prince Stefan, who asks them, so have you found her? And they're like, no, we were chased from the woods from this humongous dragon, and he had the fire-breathing dragon, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, very nice. But did you find Rapunzel? Well, he doesn't know she's Rapunzel. Did you find the girl? And they're like, no, your highness. If she did go into those woods, then she must be... And then Prince Stefan says, well, I hope you're wrong. Go now. Please, help yourself to food and drink. Like, he just can't be unkind for more than 2 seconds. Like, he's just, they're really showing that he's just a sweetie. And they're like, thank you so much. And as they try to walk up to get the free food, we see the bums of their armor have been scorched off to reveal patterned underwear, including stripes and love hearts. Number 1, how would this happen? They seem to be seated on their horses, and even so, if they were standing up on their horses, why only the bums? Number 2, 1600s. 17th century patterned underwear, I don't believe so. Number 3, why would the fabric survive? They just don't want, in Barbie as Rapunzel, to be showing moon on mane. We head back to the beautiful village where everything was going so well and everyone was so happy, and it is completely wrecked. Food is all over the floor, tables destroyed, and everyone is in hysterics. Prince Stefan and the king come in via horseback, and the baker tells them that it was Wilhelm's men who destroyed all of this. And the king is like, don't worry, we are going to make King Wilhelm and all those associated pay. And in an aside to Prince Stefan, he's like, this is why we can't just talk to him. He's an absolute villain and he needs to be taken down. They take off and they don't bother to offer to help with the cleanup in any way. Gothel is revealed to have seen all of this, and she says to herself, beautiful, they may destroy each other sooner than I thought. What does she mean by that? I also need to address the accents in this movie. The baker is obviously notably German. Gothel is English. I believe nearly everyone else except for Gothel is American, except for maybe a king or two or a god or two, but I think mostly everyone is American. We don't know where this is set, and it is told from Barbie's perspective, so the accent could just be like of her imagination. We really don't know. The climate seems very ordinary, as does the architecture. Someone smarter than me could probably figure it out, like where it is, but honestly I don't think that they had any particular country in mind when creating this movie. We then see Penelope and Hobie picking berries from the manor garden. Hobie is eating all the berries and they are squabbling about it. They are also debating on how to help Rapunzel. When Penelope says, well, at least we can bring her this, and puts her foot into the basket and starts mashing the berries with her giant dragon feet and toes. It was really giving me a throwback to Ekin-Su and Davide on Love Island. Hugo almost immediately shows up and is like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm making paint for Rapunzel. And he's like, she does not concern you, and dragons are supposed to be scary, and you have your foot covered in fruit. Penelope says, well, what if I, don't want to be scary? And Hugo says, enough. You are supposed to adhere to our code. A mighty dragon is meant to stand for power, courage, and loyalty. Penelope says, oh, I know, I'm sorry. And then Hugo flies off in a huff. A little while later, Penelope and Hobie fly up to visit Rapunzel and bring her the berry foot paint. Rapunzel says, I don't know what to say. I wouldn't either. You know that foot mush probably smells so freaking bad. Penelope says, oh, we forgot a paintbrush. Hobie says, oh, well, what about this one? And he brings over the new transformed paintbrush from Constant as the Stars Above song. And he says, I could have sworn this used to be a hairbrush. Rapunzel says, this doesn't make any sense. And they're like, who cares? Just paint. This never gets brought up again. They just accept or forget the fact that the paintbrush is magical. She gets the fruit paint onto the magical hairbrush paintbrush and touches the wall with it. There's a flurry of sparkles. An image of a sky appears on the wall. Penelope says, how did you do that? And Rapunzel's like, I don't know. I just pictured the blue sky in my head and it appeared. She tries again, and this time the green hills appears. She didn't even need any paint, mind you. So the brush is doing all of this. She then paints a waterfall along the hills, and the woman vocalizes in the background. She then paints the village and the castle. She does all of this in under a minute. No skill, no finesse required, just a magical hairbrush paintbrush and her imagination. A real butterfly then comes out of the magical painting and lands on Rapunzel's finger. Rapunzel points out all of her fave spots in the village. Penelope gets excited and accidentally thwacks Hobie into the magical painting. He has his bunda out, legs wiggling, his front half with his head has been magically taken into the wall. Rapunzel pulls him out. She puts her hand into the painting, takes it out, a bird is on her finger, and flies away. Rapunzel says, I have a good feeling about this. Hobie is like, are you nuts? You could literally end up a blob of paint. And she says, that's better than being a prisoner. Very Sunday in the park with George, I guess. She is desperate to go. She hugs Hobie, she pats Penelope on the back, and she walks into the painting. We get a magical swoosh, and she's back in the palace grounds where it all went down with Botticelli. Prince Stefan is there. He's sitting under a tree. He's like, oh, I've been looking everywhere for you. Where have you been? And Rapunzel says, well, it's a long story. No, it's not. You could tell him. He says, what's your name? She says, Rapunzel. He says, and then she says, Rapunzel's like, no. And he's, I don't want to know. She knows that if she finds out his name, then Gothel will be able to come after him. Because right now, Rapunzel can claim ignorance and not lie by saying she doesn't know his name. And she wants to keep it that way. Like, does that make sense? So she is protecting him by not wanting to know his actual name. Because she never wants to have to lie. She doesn't even know that he's a prince at this point. He says, why don't you want to know my name? And she says, it's better that I don't know. And he says, you're full of surprises. They got this flirty banter going on. She has the magical hairbrush paintbrush with her and asks Prince Stefan if he can help her find who made the paintbrush. She's thinking, if I can find the person who made the hairbrush, then I can find my parents. However, the hairbrush is now a paintbrush, so I don't know how she is expecting this to be successful. He takes the paintbrush and reads that it says, love mother and father, and he's like, just ask your parents. And she says, I haven't seen them since I was a baby. Also, this implies that the engraving transferred from hairbrush to paintbrush, which doesn't make much sense to me, as you're telling me that they can fit constant as the stars above, always know that you are loved, to our daughter Rapunzel on her first birthday with a love forever mother and father in a readable font on that tiny brush. It doesn't make much sense. Maybe it just says the mother and father part. We don't know. He says, let's go to the silversmith. We go there, and the silversmith goes, oh, you're high. It's a very Disney Channel moment. The silversmith goes, oh, you're high. And then Prince Stefan is behind Rapunzel like. And the silversmith is like, hi, how are you? How can I help you? The prince kind of loves it. Like, I think he likes that Rapunzel doesn't know that he's the prince. Rapunzel asks the silversmith about the brush, and he's like, yes, I would know that work anywhere. Literally how? It was magicked together. What is happening? And she's like, you made it. And he's like, no, not me, my brother. And she's like, Lit, where is he? Can I talk to him? And he's like, You can't. He lives in Wilhelm's kingdom. I myself haven't spoken to him in years. I haven't been to visit him. Rapunzel says why, and Prince Stefan explains that no one has gone back and forth between the kingdoms since the feud began. Considering Rapunzel is probably estimated to be like 16 years old, stolen at 1, that is a freaking long time. And also that sounds really limiting for trade opportunities. Rapunzel says, you must miss him. And the silversmith is like, yeah, I do. And it's really sad. And we see the conflict within Prince Stefan as he's beginning to see the real impact of all of this hatred on his subjects in the kingdom. Penelope and Hobie are still looking at the painting, worrying about Rapunzel. Hobie hears Gothel from miles away again. And Penelope realizes, she's like, oh, balls. If Gothel finds out that Rapunzel is gone, she's gonna hurt my dad, Father Hugo. Penelope knows she needs to get Rapunzel back fast, and they make a plan for Hobie to distract Gothel while Penelope goes into the painting to get Rapunzel and bring her back. Penelope is obviously apprehensive to go into the painting. Rapunzel and Prince Stefan are walking through the palace grounds some more like the front lawn portion, and Prince Stefan says he's sorry that Rapunzel didn't find any information on her parents, and she says, I'm not giving up, and he says, good. Also, I have an invite for you, and he hands her a scroll. It says that she's invited to a masked ball for the prince's birthday. And she's like, whoa, you must be important if you can just hand out invites to the prince's birthday masquerade ball. And he's like, it's tonight. I hope you can come. I would have given it to you sooner, but you're hard to find. She says that she would like to come, and he says, great, I'll pick you up at 7. And she's like, no, I'll meet you there. And he's like, okay, mysterious, but I'll be able to recognize you behind your mask. And she says, oh, you think so? And he says, your hair. It's a beautiful giveaway. And then they hold hands. Gothel is like nearly on Hugo, about to fly up, and Penelope still hasn't gotten into the painting because she's so petrified. I would be scared too, but I feel like the butterfly and the bird like still living after coming out of the other side of the painting is a good sign that she would be okay. She goes in and appears right next to Rapunzel like Rapunzel did with the prince. It seems if you want to find someone within the painting, it'll send you near them. Lucky you don't land exactly where they are, a la Amazing Villain, that one Star Trek thing where it explodes into a pile of human goo. Penelope is like, I'm alive, phew! And Prince Stefan is like, stay back, beast, and draws his sword. Rapunzel is like, this is my friend. And Penelope says, and I quote, watch out with that thing. Someone could get seriously hurt. And Prince Stefan says, your mate's with a dragon. And Penelope says, the name's Penelope Bucko. Penelope gets Rapunzel to come to the side so they can speak candidly. And Penelope is like, Rapunzel, if you don't come back right now, Gothel is gonna, hurt my father Hugo. Barbie says, I have to go. I'll see you at the ball tonight and I will explain everything. We then cut to Hobie sliding down this tunnel to the bottom of the tower. It looks pretty large. I reckon Rapunzel could fit in this tunnel pretty easily. And if so, I don't know why she couldn't have just gone out this way. Maybe Hobie didn't tell her. Maybe they both figure that there's no point because of the magical wall. We don't know. Hobie lands post-sliding sprawled on the grass outside of the tower. He runs to intercept Gothel, getting on Father Hugo Dragon. Hobie does this by complaining about his sciatica, which makes me sort of think, how did Hobie get to this manor? Like, we find out how Rapunzel is there, that's the plot of the DVD. Penelope is here because of her father, Hugo Dragon. Did Hobie just accidentally run through when Gothel finger blasted a hole in the magic wall and just decided to stay? Like, how long has he been here? Why does Gothel tolerate him? We really get no story there. Hobie attempts to distract Gothel by telling her that he needs a tonic to cure his sciatica, and obviously Gothel gives zero shits. Back with Rapunzel and Penelope, Rapunzel says, how are we gonna get back home in time? And there's a moment and they both look at each other and they go, paintbrush. They head down some stairs to some outdoor wooden door thingy and they paint a magical painting of the tower so that they can magic back in. Rapunzel says, I'll come back and clean up later. I hope you will. Otherwise, random people could stumble into your bedroom in the middle of the night accidentally. Hello, Kenny. Cut back to Hobie and Gothel. They are in the air on Hugo, and Hobie is holding onto Gothel's feet. And he's like, we should just talk. Like, how are you? Like the good old days. What good old days? What happened? What was the relationship here? She calls Hobie useless, and the excited weasel Otto says, give him to me, and makes this noise. I'll even leave you the lucky rabbit feet. She then drops Hobie, literally attempted murder. They were up so high, but luckily Hobie lands on a couple of trees and is bounced down to the ground. Rapunzel and Penelope walk through the tower painting. We cut to the tower and Penelope and Rapunzel have gotten back and covered the new village painting with Rapunzel's wardrobe. Gothel shits all over Penelope for being cringe and Hugo doesn't stand up for her. Gothel is like, tell me the man's name, and Rapunzel says, I'm telling you, I don't know his name. And Gothel says, fine, rot here for all I care. Gothel gets back on Father Dragon Hugo and is like, your daughter Penelope is super weird. She's too perky, she's too nice, you need to keep an eye on her. And he says, yes, mistress. Rapunzel and Penelope hug, and I actually love the colors in this room with Penelope in it, like the bright purple. It looks so good. Penelope sighs a sigh of relief. Reminder to sigh of relief if you haven't already today. Pen is like, you saved my dad, and Rapunzel is like, yeah, for now, but I can't just keep coming back. We all have to leave, and I'm gonna leave tonight. They push the wardrobe out of the way, and Rapunzel says, you need to convince your father Hugo to leave too, and go somewhere Gothel will never find you. We are back with Prince Stefan, and he's walking with the king. And Prince Stefan is like, Dad, can I invite King Wilhelm to my birthday party? And the king is literally like, that is my mortal enemy. Why would you want to do that? But Prince Stefan is like, maybe we need to mend this feud. Families can't see each other. You've been fighting for as long as I can remember, and someone has to be the first to reach out and forgive. The king says, no! You naive child, you'll understand when you grow up. Back at the tower, Rapunzel says, I don't think this dress is right for a masked ball. And we get this iconic makeover montage where they use the paintbrush to make different looks for Rapunzel. This calls into question the potential magical properties of this brush. It changes her hair, it changes a lot of things. This first dress is this beautiful purple number, and I want this exact dress. It is so beautiful, but Rapunzel says it's a little too simple. She then makes this, it's so hideous. Penelope says, ew. She then does this look, and I actually want to see someone make this look for the Met Gala. I think it would look so good. And Rapunzel's like, what about this? And Hobie says, definitely ahead of its time. So funny. Then she starts painting and painting and painting, and the music crescendos. She's a ball of light. The tower begins to glow from the outside, and Otto, the excited weasel, sees and runs off, grinning. He's such a snitch. We see the dress, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Her hair... Hello. You want to come in? We see the dress, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Her hair is so pretty. They are hyping her up when suddenly Otto is in the tower. What? I mean, I assume he climbed up that pipe that Hobie slid down. I don't know. He takes Rapunzel's invite to the ball and brings it to Gothel. Gothel sweeps stuff off her desk. She is so angry. She says, after all these years, after all I've planned, I refuse to let a lovesick young fool ruin everything. Otto, the excited weasel, says, any specific plans or just general pain and anguish? Gothel says, pain, anguish, and perhaps a trim. What does she mean? Rapunzel seems like she has just spent about an hour just looking at herself in the mirror, and then she's like, I guess I better go. Penelope and Hobie have made her a mask. It's very cute. Too little, too late. Hobie is like, ooh, I can hear, I think Gothel's, she's already here. She's already in the room. Gothel is like, you look so nice, Rapunzel. You look so good, but your hair, it's not quite right. And she finger blasts Rapunzel's hair off at the shoulders. She picks all the hair up. I remember this feeling like super violating as a kid. Like Rapunzel has so little control over her life, and her hair was one of the last things that Gothel had left alone. Like she had destroyed her painting, she had destroyed everything. Like it was one thing that she had control of, and it was like stripping Rapunzel's last bit of autonomy away from her. Hobie starts screaming. He's like, F you slag. And Gothel is like, Otto, you can eat him if you want. Otto lunges, but Penelope picks up Hobie before the excited weasel can eat him. Rapunzel says, look, like, it's me that you want. You don't have to hurt, like, him or them. But why do you want to hurt me so badly? I don't understand. Gothel gets distracted by a butterfly that appears in the room, I'm guessing from the painting. I think we're implying it's from the village painting, not from the portal through to the room from the tower painting. Are you still with me? It leads her to look at the magic village painting, and she uses her hand as a glowing infrared sensor, and she's like, this painting has magic in it, and she destroys the painting. She screams at Penelope and Hobie to get out and calls Penelope as an oaf as she gets stuck in the window on her way out. Rude, body shaming the child. Gothel picks up the magical hairbrush paintbrush and smashes it. Rapunzel is devastated. Gothel calls for Hugo and jumps on his back and says, Rapunzel, this is your last chance. Tell me the man's name. Rapunzel says, I don't know. And Gothel says, then you will live with your lies forever. She does the spell. Tower, tower, do your part. Never release your prisoner with a lying heart. Note that as these words are spoken, this fearsome spell can never be broken. Evil laugh, evil laugh, evil laugh. Gothel is on the ground with Hugo, and she's like, Hugo, you suck. You did not know that Rapunzel was sneaking out, and your daughter also sucks. She's the worst. She's more loyal to her pals than her mistress. Hugo says, well, she's still young, you know, she's gonna learn. Gothel says, maybe you don't know where your loyalties lie. And maybe you're not doing a good enough job. She blasts her hand and puts Father Hugo in this collar and chain that he can't get out of. And it's hocus pocus to keep him there chained to the wall. She's like, now I know I can deal with you later. I gotta go to a party with Rapunzel's man. Rapunzel hears this from the tower and is like, no! This was everything that she didn't want. She's been trying to protect Prince Stefan from Gothel this whole time. We are now at the castle where the party is happening. King Wilhelm is outside of the gates preparing to attack. This is our first sight of King Wilhelm, and he has this insane beard with no mustache and manic eyebrows and this fluoro yellow crown. Cool. He says, I will make him pay for what he has done, referring to the king. We also get a name reveal for Prince Stefan's dad's king, and his name is Frederick, so he's King Fred. Fred, lovely. The carriages are dropping off people of nobility to the ball. There's some dancing. The extras are just the same 6 models copied and pasted. But that's fine. I can suspend my disbelief, and I will. The Kelly triplets plus brother, the Kelly quadruplets, are watching from the balcony above the party. And they're like, oh, this party's so beautiful. But one of them, Lorena, the ginger one, she says, I'd rather be reading a good book. not like the other Kellys, it would seem. King Stefan is disengaged with this party. He's like only there to see Rapunzel. King Fred is like, and what makes this lady so special? And Stefan is like, she doesn't even know that I'm the prince. She just likes me for me, i.e. delicate. And King Fred says he would like to meet her like this. I'd like to meet her. Father Hugo is back at the tower and he is so angry, he's fuming that he can't break free from the chain. Like, it zaps him every time he tries to break free. Penelope comes up to him and Hugo is like, ooh, go away, you and Rapunzel are the reason why I'm stuck here like this in the first place. We cut to Rapunzel in the tower on the floor in her gown and she is looking at the pieces of the smashed paintbrush and she is crying and she's so upset. Gothel arrives at the ball with Rapunzel's invitation. She has this wild triangular hat on and a green gown. Otto is playing dead again around her neck and she is wearing Rapunzel's hair that she sliced off to make it look like it's her hair. We get more crispy steps up the stairs. She enters the ballroom and is just looking around, waiting for someone to notice the hair, because whatever hot young guy notices the hair, she knows that will be Rapunzel's suitor. Prince Stefan sees her in the crowd and calls out Rapunzel, and she moves further into the crowd and disappears. She pops up somewhere else. She is luring him somewhere nefarious, and he thinks she's just being coy and flirtatious and mysterious like she has been with him this whole time. This is where we get some more ASMR steps. They are probably the most famous ones, so here, I'll share them with you now. She's taking them through the palace maze, and in the center of the maze she stops and he's like, yay! And she drops Rapunzel's hair off of her head and takes off of her mask and hat, and he's looking at her like, who are you, granny? And she's like, oh, am I not what you wanted, Prince Stefan? I was initially confused because I was like, how does she know his name? And then I remembered that she was in the village earlier when he came through with his horse with King Fred. So she like definitely confirmed knows who like the nobility are, who Prince Stefan is. She just didn't know that Prince Stefan was specifically the guy who Rapunzel had been seeing. And he's like, oh, I thought you were, and she's like, Rapunzel? Yeah, she can't come. And Otto comes alive and jumps on the floor. I don't know why. Prince Stefan is like, who are you and what did you do to Rapunzel? Like, to steal her hair? And Gothel is like, I'm someone who's going to teach you not to meddle with my plans. And then she straight up tries to kill him with her finger blasting. And it is vicious. Like, when he dodges her blasts, the stuff that was there explodes. So she's not joking. She wants him dead. And Otto, the excited weasel, says with glee, zap him, fry him, puree him. And we ask in this moment, what does Otto actually get out of this relationship? Like, is he some sort of masochist? But I think he really just is super loyal to Gothel and he like backs her up. And we kind of have to respect him for that, I feel. Back to Hugo and Penelope and Hobie. Father Hugo is still trying to break free because remember Gothel was like, I'll deal with you later. So he's like, I gotta get out. I don't know what she's gonna do. Is she gonna like torture me, kill me? I don't know. I gotta go. Hobie has been trying to convince Penelope to tell Hugo that Rapunzel saved his life, and Penelope's just like, oh, there's no point. He's not gonna listen to me. He doesn't care what I have to say. Hobie says, and you're gonna let that stop you. Penelope says that she wishes that Rapunzel was here, and Hobie asks, if she were here, what would she tell you? And Penelope says that she loves me. This was a very nice thing for her to say, truly. However, we haven't had much evidence to back this up, as Rapunzel has not said once this entire movie that she loves Penelope. I guess she does show it with her actions, which is, I guess, even better. This gives Penelope the confidence to go try to talk to her father again. Penelope flies to Hugo and pleads with him, and she's like, please just talk to me. And Father Hugo is like, no, nothing more from you. And she says, I'm going to tell you anyway. She explains that Rapunzel saved Hugo's life, that she was free from her entrapment and only came back so that Gothel wouldn't kill Hugo, and now she's going to be trapped forever. Father Hugo was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was happening. Penelope's like, please, can you just help us to save her? And Father Hugo was like, well, there's no point. Gothel's spells are unbreakable. And Penelope says, I won't give up. And Father Hugo says, a mighty thought, like the dragon code from earlier. Penelope says Rapunzel does not deserve to be trapped like this. Hugo says if that is the case, the spell Gothel cast will only imprison someone with a lying heart. So if Rapunzel never lied, then she could possibly get out. Penelope flies up to Rapunzel's window and relays the info to Rapunzel, and Rapunzel is like, oh my gosh, Hugo could be correct. Rapunzel gets up off of the floor, she goes to the window and jumps out and is free. This was a high-risk maneuver as well, because if she just jumped full force into the window and it didn't work, she would have been blasted back. They go down to the ground, and Rapunzel thanks Hugo, and he says, no, I should be thanking you. And Rapunzel says, okay, cool, we gotta go to the ball. But how are we gonna get over the magic wall? And Father Hugo looks at Penelope, she gulps and is like, oh, that wall is really high. And Hugo says, Penelope, do you believe that a mighty dragon can fly over the magical wall? And she's like, duh, of course. And then he's like, then believe you can do it, for you are a mighty dragon. And Penelope says, really? And she's just shocked. And Hugo says, what makes might? It is more than power. It is also courage and loyalty. You have never swerved in your devotion to your friend, no matter the danger. I see now truly that you are a mighty dragon, and I am proud of you. He really has switched up in the last 2 minutes. After shitting all over her the entire movie. But it's a short movie, and I don't mind. And it's a very sweet moment. Mighty Dragon is like a state of mind, like Bad Bitch or Sasha Fierce or Prison Mike, you know. Rapunzel and Poby jump onto Penelope's back, and Penelope overcomes her fear and flies over the magical wall. She's also just so strong because she is carrying Rapunzel and this huge freaking rabbit, and she does a great job. Back at the palace, Prince Stefan is still running and hiding from Gothel's powers. There's nothing really you can do to counter many of her attacks. She is so OP in terms of strength in a fight in this universe, it's not even close with anyone. Prince Stefan even tries to hold up a reflective plate so that the Gothels would hit her back, reflect back at her, but she just uses her power to absorb that reflected power. She's just truly unstoppable. Otto, the excited weasel, ends up with a vase on his head. She's about to get a clear shot on Stefan when bowl cut boy Kelly shoots an arrow at her and it catches on her sleeve, pinning her to the wall. Bowl cut boy Kelly says, "Nobody hurts my brother. Nobody." The three girl Kellys then start pelting Gothel with fruits, yelling, "Take that, old lady! Get her! Get her! Get her!" Gothel pulls the arrow out of the wall, freeing herself, and she says, "To think some people actually adore children. They're out of their minds," and shoots magic at the girl Kellys, narrowly missing their heads, and the Kellys rightfully run away. Gothel approaches bowl cut boy Kelly, and he's like, "Gulp. Oh no." And then Gothel goes to blast him, and Prince Stefan knocks him out of the way. Gothel raises her hands to attack again when Prince Stefan throws a silver cup at a big banner above her head. It falls and it covers her, and they use that chance to run away. Otto gets the vase off of his head, and he looks terrible, and he knows it. Meanwhile, King Fred's guards at the front gate get taken out by King Wilhelm's guards. They get tied up in duct tape in this universe, whatever. And King Wilhelm invades the party with his guards, with his soldiers. King Fred is like, "Ugh, Wilhelm, where are my guards?" And Wilhelm draws his sword, and him and King Fred start fighting, and all the party goers run away screaming. Prince Stefan runs in and grabs a decorative sword off of the wall and starts fighting King Wilhelm's men, and he really does a great job, even though it's 2-on-1. Gothel walks into the ball and sees Wilhelm and says, "Wilhelm? She knows him? What?" No one notices. They're too busy fighting. Wilhelm disarms King Fred, and Stefan steps in with a sword to fight Wilhelm, and Gothel finger blasts their swords out of their hands with their magic. They both look at her like, what? Then two of Wilhelm's guards try to attack her, and she finger blasts them, and they go flying. Then without a beat, she looks back at Wilhelm and says, "So again, We meet at a ball. Gagged. Wilhelm says, Gothel, is that you? What are you doing here? She says, I came to clean up some loose ends. Prince Stefan is like, you know her? And King Wilhelm says, I knew her once long ago. We were friends. Gothel says, friends? Friends? You loved me. I know you did. And Wilhelm says, no, Gothel, I never loved you. And Gothel says, and for that, you will pay once again. She finger blasts him and he ends up sprawled on the floor. I do feel like Gothel is holding back a bit in this ballroom. Like, she could really be killing everyone right now, but she isn't. I feel like she's waited to have like her monologuing moment. Wilhelm sits up and is like, pay again? What do you mean? Gothel says, well, let me ask you, Fred. Why do you hate Wilhelm? King Fred says, he attacked my kingdom without cause. King Wilhelm said, you stole my daughter. King Fred says, no, for the 1000th freaking time, I never stole your daughter. Gothel says, no, I did. Striking musical chord, everyone stares at her. She would have been my daughter if you had married me. I was simply taking what was mine. He says, you took Rapunzel. And suddenly everything makes sense. And he's like, where is she? You hag, you monster. And Gothel says, who cares? You will never see her again. Wilhelm is Devo. Stefan goes to him and he's like, I've seen her. She's alive. Last time I saw her, today. Gothel interrupts with this banger of a line. Are you so ready? You should be so ready right now. Ready? Now you understand what a fool you were, Wilhelm. You could have had so much. You should have loved me. Wilhelm says, you don't know what love is, Gothel. And Gothel yells, I'm finished with you. All of you. She raises her hand to wield her magic to kill them all when someone interrupts from the doorway and yells, no more. And it is Rapunzel in her hero stance, short hair, ball gown on. Gothel is gobsmacked because remember, she thought that Rapunzel was a liar and there was no way she was ever going to be able to get out of that tower ever again. Rapunzel is like, you locked me up and enslaved me and imprisoned me for my entire life because my dad rejected you. Gothel says, he deserved to suffer as I did. The writers had so much fun with Gothel's lines here, and it's so funny. It's just so good. Rapunzel says, no more suffering, we need to end this. And Gothel is like, ooh, you gonna stop me? Rapunzel says, well, maybe not on my own, but with the help of a mighty dragon. And Penelope is there. Hero stance. Matilda stance. Gothel says, she eats her up with this so bad. She says, mighty dragon, I see a sniveling goose. Otto appears and is like, ooh, is the rabbit here? I'm so hungry. And he holds up a knife and fork. Hobie goes, get him, Penelope. And Penelope fire blasts Otto with full fury. And he is looking singed. He freaks out and runs away. Penelope now has the confidence to have a full fire blast. And good for her. What a legend. Gothel goes to kill them. Stefan knocks her down from behind and knocks her blast, and it accidentally hits the chandelier instead of Rapunzel and co. Chandelier falls and a fire starts on a marble floor. Confusing. Maybe there was some sort of oil, some sort of something within the chandelier to keep the flames lit. I'm not sure. Rapunzel talks to Hobie and Penelope and is like, let's go, you know where, and they run. Gothel gets up and chases her out of the castle, through the grounds, finger blasting at her the whole way, and just before they reach the tower door painting, Rapunzel turns around and says, can't we just start over? I forgive you, and we can just all be happy and let this go. Gothel says, and be made a fool of? Never. Rapunzel opens the door, hides behind it, and slams it in Gothel's face when she rounds the corner. Gothel goes through the magical tower painting. Otto also follows her, not wanting to be left alone. Gothel ends up in the tower, super confused, and all of her enchantments, except for the tower, start coming apart. The chain that kept Hugo locked up vanishes, the magical wall disappears. Hugo flies up to the tower window, and Gothel tries to cancel out her spell. She can't leave, and she gets zapped. She's like, Hugo, get me out of here. And Hugo was like, gee, there's nothing I can do, I'm afraid. You said someone with a lying heart cannot leave, and commanded that the spell never be broken ever, ever, ever. And Rapunzel never lied, but you, Gothel, you lied a bunch. And Gothel does the big villain, no. Back at the palace, Wilhelm and Fred's people work together to put the fire out. And Stefan, once it is all out, is like, cool, I need to go find Rapunzel. He goes to run and find her, and she is already running to him. And they check that each other are okay, and they look at each other with so much love. Like, it's really, really cute. And then Wilhelm is like, Rapunzel? And Rapunzel walks to him, and he's like, I thought I would never see you again. Rapunzel says, all these years, I thought I was alone. Chopped liver with Penelope and Hobie, but okay. And he says, you are never alone. Our love is as constant, and together they say, as the stars above. Wilhelm goes to Fred and is like, girl, I am actually so sorry. And King Fred is like, I'm just glad that Rapunzel is safe and the past is in the past. And they shake hands. Stefan and Rapunzel hold hands because they are like, sweet, no more feud, we can date. Then it pans up to reveal that the three Kellys have been watching from that same balcony from before, up above. I don't know how long for, but they are watching and they're happy for Rapunzel and Stefan, which is also nice. Rapunzel is way more excited, notably, to see Stefan than her father, but that's okay. She's probably quite traumatized. She's been through a lot. Barbie's narration comes back in at this point, stating that the two kingdoms had reunited and that there was no more war. We flash forward to Prince Stefan and Princess Rapunzel's wedding day. And like Rapunzel's hair, it's back long to like what it was before. I have no idea how she did that, whether they waited like 10 years before they got married. I don't know. Or if, like, did she grab her pile of old hair from Gothel and then like attached it via extensions to her head? I don't know. Her dress here is just okay. Everyone is at the wedding. There's the two guards with the patterned underwear, Rapunzel's mum with Wilhelm, who we never speak to, the silversmith and his twin brother are reunited, all the Kellys, and they leave in a carriage to move into their own palace. Penelope, Hobie, and Hugo move in with them as well. Kelly asks, whatever happened to Gothel? And Barbie says that she spent the rest of her days making Otto's life miserable. We see Otto, the excited weasel, cooking up a storm in the manor kitchen for Gothel. Canonically, this confirms that Otto must have never lied, because he can leave the tower, but chooses to stay at the manor to look after Gothel. I guess he just doesn't really have anywhere else to go, and use the tunnel from before to go up and down. He's noticeably very unhappy, but he's just loyal to his girl. We cut back to Rapunzel in the original pink gown, on the beach facing the ocean. Stefan walks up behind her and takes her hand, and they walk down the beach, and the shot pans to reveal that her castle is on the cliff of Rapunzel's original painting from her first scene in the movie, the one she had dreamed of seeing one day when she wished to be free. We zoom out, and now the painting is back in the art studio with Barbie and Kelly on the couch. And Kelly goes, wow, I wish I had a magic paintbrush like that. And Barbie is like, stupid, you do. The magic comes from here. And gestures to Kelly's heart. Kelly takes the paintbrush and she's like, you're right. And Barbie, I know Rapunzel's secret. And Rapunzel is like, oh, do tell. And then Kelly says, she painted what she dreamed. And Barbie says, when you do that, you never go wrong. Kelly stands and approaches her canvas. She dips into the Owen Hurley paint from the opening credits of the movie and begins painting, and it dissolves into sparkles and the movie ends. The credits roll, and at the end we get a quote, "Love and imagination can change the world. Barbie." That was a lot. You're welcome. Karma, don't you dare knock over the tripod. I'll be so freaking angry with you. Come here. In terms of merchandise, we obviously have a lot of Barbies of some of the characters that we met in the movie. We have Rapunzel and Stefan, and Barbie would continue to release different versions of them as well, including like wedding versions and things. We have the Kelly quadruplets, noticeably little to no Penelope, and also zero Hobie, zero Hugo. Some animal sidekick erasure, which is unusual for Barbie, I think. Notably, there was a Rapunzel hairdressing version of Rapunzel, and a Rapunzel in her carriage. And also, I believe there was some books telling the story, and one included a hairbrush and one included a paintbrush. The DVD cover has remained, for the most part, consistent, which is lovely. I love the cover of this DVD, except for this random one they did, which was so ugly. Why would they do that? And then they had the video game. This game is a wormhole into my childhood as like a tiny child, like just sort of gaining consciousness child. I remember spending hours playing this, and I'm sure that it's the same for many of you as well. If not, and you're still here, thank you. I love you. This game was released in 2002 by Vivendi Universal Games, and I've kept you waiting long enough. Let's head into it. The game opens with Barbie software, and I'm obsessed with this logo. I want to work at Barbie software. Like, where are the employment applications? I will intern there. That is so cute. And then we hear the iconic theme followed by a bird as it flies through the clouds, which part to reveal this castle. This is not the same castle as the end of the movie. They must have done some huge renos. And Penelope must have had some influence. It's no offense, this is looking about to her taste level. The bird drops a scroll on our face, and we see a guest list which is blank for a party, and we, the player, have to enter our name of choice. There's this narration that tells us that Rapunzel and Stefan are inviting everyone near and far to a masquerade ball. Oh, okay, I thought this was an exclusive event at their beautiful castle. After this, we do get this song. Okay, this song is crazy. The narrator starts singing and her voice is, it's so wild. But anyway, this is where we get our exposition for the start of the game. I carry a message that the couple rejoices, delighted that you will attend. With the grandest of all, with music and dancing with friends, but Gothel caught wind that she was not invited, her temper ignited, flames lit from her fingertips, a dastardly spell fell from her lips, the beautiful castle was stripped to the bone, the prince turned to stone, the prince turned to stone. The jewels from his crown are scattered around, Stefan the prince can't be found. I have so many things to say about this song. What are the lyrics? Particularly this first sentence, I carry a message that the couple rejoices, delighted that you will attend for the masquerade ball with the grandest of all, with music and dancing and friends. Also, the woman singing in this is going off, and the way she sings it is just so funny. I love her. The story that they are telling is that Rapunzel and Stefan want to throw... Bitch, are you okay? He's playing with a dried old pea. Rapunzel and Stefan want to throw a masquerade ball, so they invite everyone, and Gothel flips because she wasn't invited. Like, she could even show up. We know she can't leave the tower. She's stuck in the tower. I kind of relate to that, however, as even when I know I can't go to events, I still get sad when I don't get invited. Gothel can still do magic from her tower. Then why did all of the spells come undone at the end of the last movie? Like Hugo chained the wall and the magical wall disappearing. And also, why doesn't she just wreak havoc all the time then if she can do magic from her tower now? They say flames lit from her fingertips when it was lightning. I know it's semantics, but it's important. Why does the prince turn to stone? Why not anyone else? And why does Stefan look completely different? This is not Stefan. This is Steven. Since when did Gothel's magic get so specific and complex that she could create this scavenger hunt like reality TV show sort of esque business, like where if you do this and you do that and you do this and you do that, you will be free? The movie, she usually just finger blasted except for that last spell with Rapunzel. Rapunzel comes in this new cutscene. She got a spray tan and looks great, calling for Stefan. Her priorities are clear in this moment of disaster. She is only calling Stefan's name. She is only concerned for her man in this mess. It does not sound like Dame Kelly Sheridan, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. And we see Penelope and Rapunzel, and Rapunzel's like, oh my gosh, Penelope, I'm so glad you're okay. Yeah, sure. You weren't calling out Penelope's name. But anyway, this magical letter zooms into the room. It's giving very like Howler from Harry Potter energy, or like even Star Wars holograms in a way. Rapunzel's face is hovering and is like, Rapunzel, you have to restore this castle with your creativity. The gems from Prince Stefan's crown will bring him back, and find them or forever be alone. And what is Penelope? Chopped liver? Rapunzel was never alone. So Gothel's message flies off and Rapunzel says we have to restore the castle to break Gothel's spell and free Prince Stefan. And she looks into the camera and says, You'll help us, won't you? So in this universe, we are a character in this somehow. She's broken the fourth wall and we are now a part of the story. I have no clue who we're meant to be, who we are. Maybe we are Hobie, Hugo, I couldn't tell ya. Also, I have to believe that Rapunzel could only find the gems after she had restored each room. Like she only unlocks them after she restores each room canonically in the universe, because otherwise would she not just look for the gems straight away and then run to save Stefan like immediately? Like, I'm choosing to believe that Rapunzel is not actively choosing home renovation before unpetrifying her prince. Barbie now has a magical paint box in this universe. We don't know how she got it. Another wish on another star? We aren't sure, but this box is how we are going to get through this home renovation tears free, hopefully. Penelope dips as soon as we get to the first room. She's like, I'm gonna go look for the crown for something. Like, throughout the whole game, she is being that friend, like when you go away together and you have to clean up the Airbnb at the end of the trip, who does nothing while saying that they're doing everything. Like, every time we get to a new room, she's like, ooh, this room is so nasty, how are we gonna fix it? And Rapunzel's like, oh, we'll do it together. And then she goes, cool, I'm gonna go look for Stefan. And then when it's like, you know what it is? It's like when it's time for you and your brother to do the dishes when you were kids, and suddenly, or your sibling's like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. And then they go to the bathroom and they're in there, they hide in there for like 30 minutes and they come back out and you've already finished the dishes. Meanwhile, Rapunzel does zilch. She just stands there and offers words of affirmation and advice, which I do appreciate, honestly. I do need that kind of reassurance. I wish I honestly had it from every game. She facilitates, she provides the magical paint box. Other than that, we are on our own. We start off in this hall with these stairs at the center, and each room follows the same sort of pattern. You have a bedroom, a hall, an upstairs landing and hallway, a dining room, ballroom, and garden. Each of the rooms will have different things to change and fix with the help of the magical paint box. You will choose between pure magic or a wand or another magic paintbrush as your tools to help you renovate. With the wand or the brush, you get like a few different options to pick from, but the sparkles, like the Chalice of Sparkles one, you just have to get what you get and not get upset, really. Each room has one big project that you work on with a lot more customization, and in this first room, it's that we have to design a mosaic for the floor. It's educational and it explains what a mosaic is, and you can choose between lots of really pretty designs. And then it's like a puzzle where you put all the right pieces in the right spots. You can't color it in yourself, which makes me mad, or pick the colors, but you can color in the grouting, whatever color you like, which is just what every kid dreams for. And they let you pick your framing, and that's also a sort of puzzle to put on your mosaic as well. You also throughout get the option to print your designs that you make as you play, and oh, I think that's so cute. Like, I don't think I did it back in the day because I don't think that our computer was hooked up. Oh, no, it must have been. I think I did it once with like this Lion King game that we had. We had like a Lion King one, and it was like the bug eating competition, and I passed that, and I printed out that certificate, but our printer glitched and it was like all green and had the lines on it. But yeah, I don't think I ever did it with this game, but imagine how that's such a sweet idea and so cute. Imagine printing out all of your designs as you play and then popping them in a scrapbook or a binder. Like, that's so cute. Also, this room teaches you what a topiary is, which is very helpful. Once you have completed the flowers in this room, the stairs, the banners and things, and the rest of the room will magically fix itself, which would be really nice. Imagine it's sort of like when you go, I'm going to declutter everything, and you do all the fun bits, and then you get to the boring bits, and you run out of energy, and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Imagine if you did all the fun bits, and then the rest of it just magically fixed itself. That would be so wonderful. At this point, you are given a magnifying glass to look for the unlocked crown gem, which is tiny and floating around the room. Obi, you can't jump up there, it's too high. Oh god, he's gonna try to jump on the hammock. Oh, he did it. Well done. That was impressive, Obi. Lovely, Sam. Obi just jumped from the floor to the hammock. With ease. I know. At this point, you are given a magnifying glass to look for the unlocked crown gem, which is tiny and it's floating around the room somewhere. And once you have found that, you have completed this room. We then head to the hallway landing area. I say we head. I believe you can do these rooms in any order, but don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure you can. In this room, they are pushing a lot of ocean imagery for whatever reason. Seahorses, dolphins, and seashells. They also have really like the swan and unicorn motifs as well. They have a terrarium with a chrysalis that hatches into a butterfly. We swap out the topiaries. Instead, we have these sculptures. We can change this wall decor. The options were all ugly. And choose our flooring as well. Our big project in this room is restoring this painting to its former glory. You can pick from lots of lovely options. I went with this garden fountain. The swabs that you get are nice as they are textured, like the palettes that you get. You have greenery and floral textures, water, sky, and gravel as well. It was really fun to do. And you can even choose your frame as well. So I opted for this butterfly frame. With that, this room is done and we are prompted to hunt for the next crown gem, this heart one, and then once we have found that, we can head off to the next room. Next, we head into Rapunzel and Stefan's bedroom. I am making a guess that this is capital T, their bedroom, as they are married. At first, I thought it might just be Rapunzel's bedroom, but we have all of this lovebird imagery and this saucy mask, so I believe that they share the space. In the room, we have these flowers to restore, the lovebirds to resurrect, and the music box to mend. Our big job is fixing up the saucy mask for the masquerade ball. The customization here really is endless. It feels like there is literally so much that you can do. I picked the cat shape in honor of my cats, Karma and Obi. A bunch of swatches to color your mask with. I opted for some pink, purple, and gold. The embellishments go on and on that you can add, the decorations, they never end. You can add feathers, gems, butterflies, stars, and flowers. Rapunzel said that she loved what I came up with. You can pick your floor color, and lastly, I picked the way her bed looked. However, due to an unforeseen game glitch, I ended up with the one that I didn't even want, and it was hideous, and I was really upset because there are actually some really cute bed designs, but I unfortunately ended up with this one, which is like the least saucy option that you could have picked. We found the crown gem, Rapunzel stood there, and the bedroom is finished. We head back through the landing and the hall to the grand ballroom. Here we have some wild music. This is the music. Such funky music. All right. And we fix up this lovely floral arrangement. We also do this window on the side here. It can be stained glass if you like, and it features a few different designs. I went for the Rapunzel and Stefan one. There's this banner here that also has some cool designs to pick from. I chose one of Penelope. More wall decor here. They keep pushing the bird imagery, which I'm a bit sick of seeing at this point, so I went with the heart. When I changed up the chandelier, I was shocked to find out that you could do all different animated stickers for the lights, which was an attention to detail that actually really made me smile. It was so cool. They could have so easily just made it that you could only have the option to have them all the same, but no, like someone took the time to make it that they could all be different lights, and yeah, it was so cool. You can pick a floor with the wand, a floor color. Some of the floors were giving carpet, which isn't really ballroom, more extreme makeover home edition. The big task for this space was fixing up the thrones. You can pick shapes for the bottoms and backs of your thrones, and there are some really interesting ones as well. Some similar swatches from what we've seen before, but nevertheless, I love that we have quite a bit of range here. Notably, no paintbrush this time, we just have a cursor that fills in the clicked space. Another pile of embellishments to choose from. There are pillows, adornments, gems, crowns, flowers, more feathers. I kind of regret not going with the peacock feathers watching this back. They look so good. And after we have finished decorating our thrones and we have found our oval shaped crown gem, we have completed the ballroom. We have to head back through to the grand hall and into our next space, which is the dining room. The first thing I added in here was a wall feature of the fireplace and another floral arrangement in the bottom right corner. I then went on to the big project of this area, the rug, and this rug really threw me through a loop. So you can pick from all of these lovely designs, except for this mask one, which was giving swinger vibes. And then some of like our previous big projects, we're given the opportunity to add some embellishment, this time with the addition of fruit. And I thought I was finished. I made my beautiful rug, and then it presented me these buttons that go in different directions and mashed the rug into this kaleidoscope pattern, which, while funky, ruined my beautiful artwork I had made. And then I tried to go backwards, ended up accidentally deleting it completely, and I had to start over again. So this time I ended up doing the crown design, and I added a bunch of random images that were quite symmetrical that I thought would look really cool with the kaleidoscope effect that I don't think you can help but add. And I mashed my rug up until this was as good as it was probably going to get. We made up the table, and in this room I ended up embracing a lot of the stupid mask motif just because it made me laugh, and I like to think we were setting up for the party, adding some party decor. The window, you could have had stained glass or just a plain window with some beautiful views. I elevated the door, I found another crown gem, no problem, and finished fixing up the dining room. We then head into the garden, and I am accepting at face value that we just pick this random section of garden and then that restores the whole estate grounds. I'm just gonna accept that for my own sanity. In this section, the magic from the magic paint box gets especially insane as we pick out not one, not two, not three, but 4 living creatures from the box to help restore the garden. Like, we've already brought some creatures back to life and things a la chrysalis and lovebirds, but this really was quite insane. Lots of them were really creepy looking, so I tried to pick the least frightening ones as I could. You also can paint your view, which calls into question just how much control the magical paintbrush and Rapunzel have, but again, I'm going to choose to suspend my disbelief. We fix up the fountain. I went with the boring option looking back. We fix up the archway. The big project is designing 6 flowers in this raised flower bed. The vocal prompts as you pick through are very expressive.
Rose, sunflower, tulip, daisy, lily, bellflower, rose, sunflower, tulip,
Lily, rosebud, sunflower. You can again pick from many lovely colors, no patterns however this time. Heaps and heaps and heaps of decorations, lots of thorns and twigs and leaves, which seems appropriate. The options menu goes on for ages, and I kept thinking while playing that someone didn't have to design this many options for decoration in this game, but they chose to. And I really love and appreciate them for that. Like, that is so nice. I tried to pick one of each flower for my garden. You can also print these designs obviously as you go, as you could with all of the big projects. When I was finished with my flower, Rapunzel said this.
Flowers, let's plant them in the garden. Flowers so colorful and fair. Rise and float now in the air. Please click on a flower. Move it over the planter and click to plant it.
What is this magic that Rapunzel suddenly possesses?
Finish planting all 6 flowers.
Okay. Why does Rapunzel have the power to cast spells now? This makes no sense. The flowers are magically levitating into the air. You have to drag your flowers into the flower bed in whichever order you would like. Once I finished with that, I grabbed another animal out of my magical paint box and placed it on the floor, and it was a rabbit, and the rabbit did not seem sentient. Does this mean that Hobie was the only sentient rabbit? I think by this point in making the game, they were growing a little sleepy, possibly a little near the end of the deadline. I chucked the squirrel on the tree and the castle grounds were restored, and then I found the 6th and final crown gem. We get a cutscene of the outside of this maze on the estate. Rapunzel says to Penelope, "You don't come in here, you wait outside." I mean, she's literally done absolutely nothing. What happened to the mighty dragon of it all? I don't know. Then we're in the maze and we see a map, and it feels like I'm really gaming. Gothel's floating head comes back and says this.
"You'll never find your love so true. My maze is much too hard for you."
Instead of WASD, we use our arrows on our keyboard to travel through the maze, and lucky we have the magical map to Stefan. I don't know how we got this. Did Gothel give it to us? We will never know. We navigate through the maze. Everything about this looks visually so cursed. The music is frightening. We meet the obstacles throughout the maze that Gothel has placed there. Could she not just go around that? We choose from the magic paint box one of our tools that we have used previously, and one of the tools will be correct, but you get unlimited chances to pick the right one, and there are only 3, so no risk really, but it feels tense because of the music. We use the sparkles to get past the unicorn, the paintbrush to get past the first hedge, and the paintbrush to get past the second hedge. I don't know if this is something that has an algorithm that changes, or if it's just the same obstacles and solutions every time anyone ever plays the game, and each time, I'm not sure. The music gets even more insane. The music's so tense. And we finally see Prince Stefan. I appreciate how good the part where you're actually putting the crowns into his head looks. Like, it looks so good compared to what we've just come from, and especially considering it's 2002 and a PC game based on a straight-to-DVD movie. Though the blank, petrified eyes of Prince Stefan are a little spooky, we pop in the gems one by one back into the crown. He slowly comes back to life, very much thawing into animation. Now this man looks still nothing like the Stefan that we know. Like, I don't even think is him. This is Steven. This is not Stefan. This is Steven. They both thank us, and the castle gets restored, and you may think the game is over. No, it's not. Rapunzel has to get dressed for the ball, the masquerade ball, obviously. I really couldn't decide between these 2 dresses, this gorgeous red dress, and this purple. I think I need to see someone make this red dress in real life, but I did go with the purple one just for the branding purposes, just for purposes of branding. We also hear Constant as the Stars Above as like a music box version while we do this, which is lovely and brings us back to our roots in time for nearing the end of the game. I picked a crown. Rapunzel said that she loved it. We see them pretty stoked at the masked ball, and they introduce us to the kingdom, and to thank us they gift us a memory scrapbook. In this we can see all of the rooms that we have restored throughout the game, And you can also just go through and print out your favorite ones as well. I saved my favorite ones for me, myself, and I. It's no one else's business. You also get this certificate as well, which is wonderful. Like, you can print it out for your fridge. That's so cute. More games should implement this feature. I would appreciate it a lot more than Steam badges. If I could print out every time, hey, you finished Breath of the Wild, print out this little certificate, put it on your fridge. Like, that's so cute. There's nothing further to do. So, we say farewell to Rapunzel and Co. for now, until we might revisit them again. It's really wonderful when something that could have so easily just been chucked together with no love and thought evidently does get somewhat carefully crafted. Like, realistically, this movie and this game based on a movie could have been so easily just another pile of garbage and landfill, but they're just not. Like, there were people in these rooms who cared about these characters, they cared about the music, they cared about the children that were going to pick up this movie, pick up this game, and absorb that content. And the game manufacturers cared about the details of the shapes, of the colors, of the puzzles in this game. And it's really wonderful, and I'm proud that both of these pieces of art were a staple of my childhood. Thank you so much for watching this video and getting to the end of this behemoth video. If you like this video, feel free to like the video. If you want to subscribe to this video, feel free to subscribe to this video. Please let me know in the comments if this movie brought up as much nostalgia as it did for me and you. What am I saying? If this movie and or game brings up the same amount of nostalgia in you as it did for me. I would love for you to have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers. Bye.